Hi everyone, and welcome to the Service Binding Operator Developer Call, Community Call for December the 1st. We do not have any announcements nor discussion on today's agenda, so we'll go through the issues and have a look on them. We do not have any new issue, but we can have a look at them, at the old ones.
Can you make your font a little bigger?
Yes,
Okay, that's enough. Okay.
with this good first issue, that is
Yeah.
a bug.
Oh, there was a comment.
Yes, we do not have. Do we have anything new on this, Andy? I see that you managed that one.
Nope. I was able to confirm it, but I haven't really done anything to actually fix it. This is why I've labeled it as good first issue, because it's open, and it'd be honestly a really good issue for someone to pick up. No, it just hasn't been placed on high priority yet.
Okay, so we have this issue as low priority and hope for someone in the community to work on this. Right?
That's my understanding.
Okay. We have another issue for the integration with Keycloak.
This issue, sometimes back there was a PR, but that community member didn't continue working on that. That PR was, there was a lot of conflicts, and the approach that he did, he removed some of the old code, and that was making. So finally, we had closed that issue. Asked in case if he was interested, we could bring it back again, and we left the right. So, but I have a still. Do we really need to? I mean, document Keycloak, or is there any other request came? Is this project is? I remember the previous product manager mentioned that Keycloak, yeah, is a Red Hat sponsored project, so it's good to document and all. That's why we kept it like this. But I think we can revisit that, in my opinion, and see if we really need this documented. It is just yet another service, right? So we are building, yeah, now we have a building a better, much more complex application also. That's also there in our pipeline, which is going to showcase a better application. This is so we don't really need yet another sample application, I guess.
If I remember correctly, we didn't like the approach because it was breaking our testing.
Yeah, right.
Right. So maybe, and then we suggested another approach where he could have duplicated some things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then he came back with anything?
No. We waited for a long time, but finally I closed this issue. I mean, PR asking that if he's interested, he could open again.
By the way, Keycloak is a partner of Red Hat. They're sending charts on the certification, the Helm chart certification program.
Partner meaning it is a Red Hat project, right?
Well, I see Keycloak in the Helm chart repository.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it is mainly a Red Hat sponsored project.
I believe so. It's one of the, I guess, JBoss originally projects.
Yeah.
I remember that it was around when I was working on JBoss, part of Red Hat.
Actually, our single sign-on with what we use daily is underneath it is Key Cloak.
Yeah, I'm gonna post the pull request for the key clock chart. You guys can take a look, but I think it's let me see if it's a partner or okay, I'll take a look while you guys continue.
Yeah, it's sent to partner Mobilium. So I don't know who is the Mobilium. Maybe some other organization.
Yep. So it is a partner. Yep.
Yeah,
Mobilium.
it's an
Yeah.
upstream project. Anyone could make it as a product and probably.
So the prioritizing key clock,
Yeah.
I guess, right? Exactly. Cool.
So what I can say from this PR is simply this guy simply modified the SpringPet Clinic application for the samples. So it could be easy to complete this one. Just apply this.
It's not the only thing he did. The Keycloak, the Sprint Backend application in our samples works standalone. And he modified or introduced this application. The thing is that it depends on some parent for Spring framework. They have lots of quick starts and examples, and they have a parent Maven, and the Spring Pet Clinic is just one of the examples, right? So, but the way how the sample is in our repo, it is sort of meant for standalone, right? So it doesn't depend on the parent one. But the way how the Keycloak example, if I remember correctly, I took a look at that time, but the way how he approached it is that he somehow introduced that parent and somehow make those things depend on each other somehow. I don't know exactly what happened, but that is how they how it broke out testing.
Okay.
Yeah, so my question is still like, do we need this key clock sample somewhere in our repository? Is it critical? Now we are the context I'm asking because now we are working on a bigger, more what do you call microservice sample also, right? We are working on that. So with that also going to be in our repository somewhere. I think we don't really need yet another keycloak sample, right?
I don't believe we need it, right?
Yeah.
Something like it's nice to have, and it's also another
Yeah.
scenario, right? But we don't need that.
Yes. So if somebody really contributed, yeah, that's okay. So maybe we can keep it like a, if really necessary, we could keep it as a issue that others can contribute, but need not be there as a low, and it could be a low priority one also in that case. Should we add those labels? At least low priority and maybe for, I don't know whether it's a good first issue, probably not, but something, I don't know what else, what other labels are there.
Sorry, Bejo, I didn't get.
No.
Do
What
you
my
want
question
to
is,
close?
can we add a low priority at least that issue?
Sorry?
Can we add a label that low priority low?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Also, if I remember correctly, the original idea behind this issue was that we were going to show how SBO can interact with various things, right?
Bind
And
to
SSO
SSO,
was one
right.
of the things that is common, and lots of that technology is common throughout the field. So this was one of the ideas to one of the services that we should include in our out of the box support or something.
But it shouldn't. It should be if we happen to bind to Keycloak, then use it, right? If we don't bind to Keycloak, then Spring Clinic should behave like it behaves now, right? So that's the way it should be implemented. Right? We shouldn't have to have like, because in our scenarios we don't have a Keycloak service somewhere, right? So as long as they implement it like that, no problem, right? But since we don't need it, I think we're not going to spend time on it. We're just going to see if someone else wants to pick that up. Now, Pet Clinic is in our repo, but it's also a project by itself.
Yes.
So why don't they implement it over there first? Where it's a project by itself. Why do they need to implement it right over here?
Well, it is actually taken from the same place as the Pet Clinic from Spring Framework, and somehow used it as an application in our scenarios, in our samples. It's not like that they would implement.
But it's a fork, right? Basically, it's a fork. If they make changes in the application, we don't have to change it, right? We just use it because it's good for our testing. But we could use the original application in that repository for demos as well, right? If they implement it over there, then we could use it for a demo, right? But not necessarily for our testing, is what I'm saying, right?
Well, the thing that the way how the application was implemented, at least at that time of the PR, it wasn't out of the box compatible with SBO. So it needs to be tweaked. Same thing as the Pet Clinic one. I had to make some changes. I was the one who introduced the Pet Clinic sample. I had to do some minor changes so that it would be compatible with SBO, so that we can use it as an application to bind.
But VMware uses Pet Clinic too.
Well, everybody uses Pet Clinic, right? There is a million variants. There are a million
forks. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
By the way, I don't think I have the permissions to add labels to this. I don't see the gear here.
Oh, so that means that you are not in certain team or something like that. Maybe David or.
Let me take a look at that. Yeah. Let me take a look at that.
By the way, I think that we can go with the next one. If we decided that we can add the GoodFizz here, contribution here, GoodFizz issue. I'd like to suggest also the approach of closing this, because from my understanding, we do not want to have this implementation, and we can basically close it and have in our history of issues a resolution to an example on how to bind with Keycloak. So we in this issue we do have an example of how to bind with Keycloak, but we're not going further with this.
So did I understood it correctly? Some time ago that we have that the more complex application that you're building or contains Keycloak as well, or some demo application that we have. Is that correct? But you mentioned something like that. I probably misunderstood.
No.
it.
I'm talking. No, there is a. I was referring the project that Francisco is going to work on, that microservice. That I don't think there is a Keycloak as a component.
No,
but that's
no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But does that have some kind of authentication or something of that sort there, Francisco?
No, we do not. We do not have authentication on this.
Okay, no authorization. Okay.
So what do we
Yeah.
want to do? We had a
Yeah, but
low priority.
yeah, for now we don't have that in the demo, but it could be a potential future expansion also, right? But that's also possibility. But we don't really. I don't know whether we need to keep this issue open like this. I just put a label, the priority low at least.
Okay, so we are going to close it or not?
If it was me, we're not gonna work on this, right? so it's up.
This.
This
Sorry.
could, unless it's a community member that wants to work on it, we're not gonna work on this. So I think I'm fine either way.
From my perspective, since I sort of seen the whole history of this issue is almost a year old,
Mhm.
and it was originally, the SBO 778 was originally the architect for SBO. That's Shobik, and he this was as I said, one of the attempts to have us integrate or interact with something which is established, some established projects, and of course it might be good use case. And since then, and since we don't have it, and nobody asked for it, I guess there is no major interest yet. So I would say let's close it or keep it. I would say it's hanging around for quite some time, and nobody really showed interest nobody asked for hey, how it is going, or where when it will be done, right, or something. Nothing like that.
So you could say, you could also point to, you could say close it and point to the regional pet clinic project and ask them to, implement there. If they implement it in the master project, then maybe we can adopt it, right? Something like that.
I think that the main topic of the issue is more of coming up with an application that is binding to Keycloak. Then this user started using the pet clinic for not building, but originally the idea was to bind an application.
Right.
Yes.
So I will exclude from any reasoning the pet clinic application. It was just an attempt from this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we can consider of implementing a new demo with the binding to Keycloak, or just close the issue.
We close the issue. I mean, to us, it doesn't matter if it's Keycloak or something else. We, like you said, but you said we have another application that's going to be multiple services and it's going to showcase SBO value. I would agree with closing as well.
Yeah. So I think it's more important to have very realistic samples, and so that need not be this Keycloak. So let's close this one, and anyway, we are working on the other project, right?
Yeah. Good.
Okay. Do I have to leave a comment on this? Do you want to write something down here?
Yeah, we can mention that we decided. Yeah, we can mention that we decided to close this in the based on the community discussion and things like that.
By the way, you should be able to add labels now, Francesco.
Yes, also to close it. Right. Well. Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can go to the next one. Service binding operator cannot project bindings to jobs.
What was the last comment?
Right. Right. I think we close this one too. So because they can do it with the cron job, they can do it with their own CR if they want to, right?
There is just one more thing. Actually, there is some kind of limited support in the reference elimination for this feature. Okay, is that going to be
Andy,
with some caveat? That's my understanding. Okay, like I mentioned, it's
Yeah,
not perfect
mine-
or
it was like a webhook thing, right?
yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my understanding is that you have to have the service binding in place before you can make any of your job resources, because the reference implementation hooks in at creation time to inject all of the stuff.
So only the label selector will work, basically.
Well, no, they get it to work with just about everything.
But you see what I mean? Like the service binding needs to be there first, failing for the job to come in and get the projection, right?
Well,
If the
you can do
job-
the same thing with name-based binding. You make it with referencing a job that doesn't exist.
Right.
It intentionally fails.
Oh, right.
And the job comes in, and we pick it up and
Then it
bind
works.
it at creation time.
I would say jobs are immutable, pods are immutable. This is a known limitation, right?
Yeah.
From
I
the
think
API.
pods are,
Yeah.
jobs are almost equivalent to pod, right? Which we are not
Yeah.
supporting anyway.
Right.
And so with this, if we are supporting job, I think that makes we need to support pod also, but
Right.
which we are not doing.
Right.
I am halfway tempted to say that until we actually get someone asking for this, there's not a whole lot of point in prioritizing it.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe better just to proactively implement it.
Is this created by Predrag? Can you scroll up?
Yeah, it was Predrag. So it was part of enhancing service binding, I think, right? Not necessarily an ask from the field.
Mhm.
Okay, let's close this. Maybe we can, if somebody bring up this as a question, or in future we could reopen and we can work.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's not consistent, right? So
Okay. At least can we mention in the document? Oh, hold on. So currently we support only mutable resources. Somewhere in the like a notes or somewhere in the documentation, the implementation doesn't support immutable resources like
Yeah.
jobs, pods,
mhm.
and not like that would be good in the docs.
Yeah, we should probably document
We
that
should probably
somewhere.
document that. Yeah.
Okay, then keep this issue open. Add that as a comment saying that let's document this, that we are not
Right.
supporting immutable resources.
Yeah. In fact, I think the console team asked already about, hey, how come pods are not supported, right? I had to do a little bit of research, and then I found out, yeah, of course, pods are immutable. And I discussed with Andy, and then we didn't find any documentation, did we, Andy? Where we say that, like, pods are not.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember finding anything, but I might be just misremembering.
Right. With the cron job, you came back with a list of with a workload resource mapping. There was a list, I remember, right?
Yeah, well, with
But
cron
I-
jobs, they're mutable. So we can just kind of treat them the same way we treat deployments.
You can mention pod and job in the bracket. Yeah. Also change the label, docs label. There is a docs something label, right?
Okay.
Kind of. Is there any docs level? Yeah, kind documentation.
Documentation.
This could also be a first if someone wants to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And enhancements can be removed, I guess, that level.
Wrong click.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Do we want? No, we do not want to assign anyone to this, right?
I think this is something that we should do. By the way, because we already been asked by the console team about why is Spot not something we can bind to, right? So if we could just in the future, if someone asks me, I could just point it to a doc, right? Hey, look at the resources that we support by default today, right?
Oh, you want to mention the supporter resource also, or
I would say, like, what are the by default out of the API Kubernetes API? We support deployment. We support daemon set, right? We support
right.
change, right?
Yeah, replica set and
Replica
and
set,
there are
exactly. So I would put the list and then explicitly call out. By the way, we don't support immutable resources like this and this, right? Any other immutable resources that come with the CRD won't be able to support either, right?
I think I'll go make a story for this in our Jira and just go tackle this.
That's a good idea.
shortcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, also not only vanilla Kubernetes resources, we should also list the OpenShift. There are some resources like deployment config.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, deployment config is only on OpenShift, right?
Yeah, that's only
Okay.
OpenShift.
Okay. Yeah,
And
but we support that too, right? So, as long as it has the container spec.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Port spec.
Yeah.
Okay, I think time.
That's it. I think that we are out of time.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.